Hello everybody, welcome back to Deck Tech for Decks. Today we've got a pretty powerful one, Adrix and Nev Twincasters. These guys are insane. If our opponent doesn't deal with them quick, we're gonna run away with this game. Turns out parallel lives in the command zone is pretty broken. The goal of the deck is pretty simple as well. We're just gonna cast giant creatures that want to create a lot of tokens, and then we're gonna try to copy those creatures. Let's not forget we're gonna be able to generate some crazy value off of creating all these tokens. Alright guys, without further ado, let's get into the deck. Let's cover these big creatures that are going to create all these tokens because, let's be honest, that's why you guys are here. First up we have Hornet Queen. Pretty predictable, I know, but I promise the deck gets spicier the more we delve into it. Next up we have Avenger of Zendikar. This guy's insane. If we can create a token copy of this guy and just have 3 Avengers of Zendikar and who knows, 40 plant tokens, he gets out of hand really quickly. Next up, Coma Cosmos Serpent. Not only is this guy incredibly difficult to get rid of, but we're going to be doubling up on the crazy value that is creating a 3/3 Serpent on each upkeep. Arasta of the Endless Web. We're going to create a giant spider army with this girl. Our opponents are going to be contemplating casting anything. Bio Waste Blob. It does not take very many turn cycles for this guy to get out of hand. Giant Adaphage. This guy's a classic and he's going to be amazing in this deck. Once we create one token, it's going to be off to the races and it's going to get insane fast. Chasm Skulker. There is a lot of card advantage in this deck, so this guy's going to get big fast. And then when he dies, we're just going to create a bunch of blue squid creatures that all have Island Walk, so the blue player is pretty much screwed. Next up, a card I'm really excited about, Tyrannid Harridan. I think a lot of people are sleeping on this card. This is not a Tyrannid tribal card. This is a card that just doubles the amount of Tyrannids you have every turn. Because first we're going to deal damage with it, and we're going to create 1 Tyrannid, then 2 Tyrannids, then 4 Tyrannids, and that's just going to get doubled by our commander, which is going to be pretty crazy, especially if we're able to copy him. Because then, for every Tyrannid that deals combat damage, we're going to be creating 3, but because of our commanders, it'll be 6 Tyrannid creature tokens. It gets out of hand really quickly, and there's a lot of ways in the deck to create a token copy of a creature we control. Old One Eye is not only going to give all of our other creatures trample, but he's going to enter the battlefield with 16 power because we're going to instantly get that 5/5 token and double it. Next up, we have the Unassuming Reefworm. This guy gets more out of hand than you think because whenever it dies, you get 2 3/3 tokens. And then whenever the 3/3 tokens die, you get 4 6/6 blue whale tokens, and then out of nowhere you're left with 8 9/9s, and people are wondering what the fuck happened. Lastly, we have Rampaging Balos. This is mostly in the deck for card advantage, but it can go wide pretty quickly, and it is just useful. Alright, finally an honorary mention. This guy doesn't create tokens, but he changes the kind of token you create. It is, of course, Essex Fractal Bloom. Imagine creating a bunch of little plant tokens with Avenger of Zendikars that are also Avenger of Zendikars. That's just crazy to me. So this guy's in the deck, and if they don't deal with him very quickly, we're just going to win the game. Alright, our next category is going to go over how we're going to create token copies of our creatures and turn our creatures into tokens. First up, we have Rite of Replication. This one's a classic and it's very versatile. We can play it early or play it late game to close it out. Replication Technique. This card's pretty crazy because we're going to go ahead and get 4 tokens off of this because we're definitely going to copy it. We don't care what our opponent's going to copy. But imagine 4 Avengers of Zendikar because why not? Now every time you play a land, all your plant tokens get buffed +5. That's going to just end the game. Vile Duplication. It's going to be very useful on our legendary creatures because the token won't be legendary, so that's pretty useful. Cackling Counterpart. Not only can this be played early, but we can flash it back later for its flashback cost. Quasi-Duplicant. Another card that we can cast more than once, right? Because it's got that jumpstart ability, which is really good. Croaking Counterpart. Again, another one we can play from our graveyard after we cast it. And honestly, all we need is one of these to take over the game. Next up, Bramble Sovereign. Whenever one of our creatures enters the battlefield, we can go ahead and create a token that's a copy of it. Mimic that. This one's really good because we can do it every turn. And we're obviously going to exile our most broken creature with it. Alright, we have a few supporting cards with Champion of Liamholt. This is going to give all of our creatures unblockable really quickly because we're creating a lot of creatures in this deck. Timeless Witness, this is really good because it has that Eternalize ability, so if we lose one of our key points of the deck, we can go ahead and get it back, and then we can keep creating tokens of this guy to keep getting stuff back from our graveyard. Balaged Recovery, this is really good because I think MDFCs are underplayed in general, and getting something back from our graveyard is going to be really efficient. Selesnya Eulogist, this is going to let us populate so we can keep creating those powerful tokens. Concordant Crossroads. Haste is really important in this deck, right? If you create a bunch of Avengers of Zendikar, get 40 plant tokens, buff them all +5, and then pass turn, you think people are just going to let you untap? Nah, they're going to do everything in their power to stop you. Well, if we have haste, we don't even have to worry about what they've got planned. Alright guys, we are running some pretty big creatures, so we do need some ramp. Awaken the Woods. This is going to be amazing, because we're going to go ahead and basically triple our mana with this, right? Because we're going to pump X for everything it's worth, and then our commander's going to double it, so that's pretty good. Tireless Provisioner. Every time a land enters the battlefield, we're going to go ahead and create a treasure token, which our commander will double. Incubation Druid. Really good early drop that can later be buffed up to tap for 3 mana. Pretty good. Secure Tribe Elder, this guy's just reliable. Awakening Zone, this is going to go ahead and create us one of those colorless Eldrazi spawns that we can sacrifice to add mana. Cryptolith Rites, we're going to have a lot of tokens, so being able to tap those tokens for mana is going to be really good. Ashnod's Altar, I mean, we're going to have a lot of tokens to sacrifice, and we're going to want to sacrifice some of our creatures, so this is going to be really efficient for the deck. Old Gnawbone, we are going to be attacking with a lot of creatures, right? So we want to create treasure tokens, double treasure tokens whenever they deal combat damage. This guy's insane. Then we've got the classic boring shit like Rampant Growth, Cultivate, 3 Visits, and Farseek. This is just going to make it to where we're ramping really efficiently early, which is what you want to do to stay in the game. Alright, let's move on to card advantage. I'm really excited with what we ended up with. We have Curiosity Crafter. Whenever one of our tokens deals damage, we're going to draw a card. We're going to have a lot of tokens, right? And we're not going to have a maximum hand size, which is just going to help us out. Tireless Tracker. This one's really good because when a land enters the battlefield, we'll create 2 clue tokens. Bident of Thassa. Whenever one of our creatures deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Again, we're going to have a little bit of creatures in this deck. Reconnaissance Mission, Toski Bear of Secrets, and Orin Frostfang all do the same thing, right? We're just trying to deal damage to our opponent to draw cards. Oh, and don't forget Coastal Piracy. Next up, we're going to gain advantage by casting creature spells with Guardian Projects, Beast Whisperer, and the Great Henge. And then finally, let's get some value off of our creature's power with Elemental Bond and Guruk's Pack Leader. Moving on, we have Lonis, Cryptozoologist. This is going to create us clue tokens, and we're going to be able to sacrifice those clue tokens later for some advantage if we don't need the card draw, right? And Skull Clamp. It's a token deck. It's a classic. We put it in there. Moving on, we have Removal, Azuri's Predation. This is going to be pretty insane in the deck. I know I use those words, insane, crazy. No, this is insane, all right? We're going to create 2 4/4 green Phyrexian Beast creature tokens for each creature our opponents control. And then those are going to fight all their creatures. So each of our opponent's creature is going to take 8 damage. So it's going to be a board wipe. Beast Within, just really good permanent removal. Terrestodon, this is going to be pretty fun to, just create token copies of. They could play Green Elephant Tribal, Amphin Mutineer, if Green Elephant Tribal doesn't work out for them, they can always go ahead and play Salamander Tribal. Reclamation Sage, really efficient. Pognify, really efficient. Nature's Claim, you get the point. Swan Song is just going to be really good for getting rid of those instants that are trying to get rid of our commander. Oversimplify is so fun in the deck because it can still leave you with a board state while getting rid of all of the opponent's problems. So you'll be left with the biggest creature and they'll just have, a vanilla creature that used to do stuff but doesn't anymore. Curse of the Swine, a really good removal spell. And if we have Essex on the battlefield, we can actually sacrifice our own creatures and then have them enter in as broken creatures. Bane of Progress. This guy's an all-star. I've been including him in a lot of decks because treasure tokens are on the rise and this guy deals with him. And after he deals with them, he becomes massive. Alright, and I'm going to leave you with one more thing. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. Commenting really does help me out. So if all you do is that, I really appreciate it. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one.